Firstly, I would like to thank His Excellency Dr. William Samuel Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces, for joining us today as we mark this year's International Women's Day. This is a show of commitment by His Excellency, the government of Kenya, towards celebrating women and advancing gender equality in this country. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, International Women's Day is a global day that celebrates the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. Started in 1911, the day is marked globally on March 8th each year to celebrate women's achievements, educate and raise awareness on women's rights, call for positive change, and accelerate gender equality. My presence here today and many other women leaders indicates progress towards gender inclusion of women in leadership. The significant success of female candidates in Kenya's recent general elections is another strong indicator of progress, for which I applaud the women's leaders and the country. Distinguished guests, excellencies, the theme for this year's celebration, as you just heard, Digits All, Innovation and Technology for Gender Equality, recognizes and celebrates the women and girls who are championing the advancements of transformative technology and digital education. We live in a world that is heavily reliant on technology. Our lives depend on strong technological integration, such as attending online classes, calling loved ones, making financial transactions, booking a medical appointment, and the list goes on and on. As Kenya joins the rest of the world in commemorating this day, we are all to exploit the impact of the digital gender gap on widening economic and social inequalities. We are further called to spotlight the importance of protecting women and girls in digital spaces and addressing online and ICT-facilitated gender-based violence. As the world grappled with unprecedented challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, it was evident that the new digital norms significantly increased the digital divide, and as such, these vulnerable groups, including women and rural population, now more than ever face exclusion. Your Excellency, women's lack of inclusion comes with massive costs. According to United Nations Gender Snapshot 2022 report, women inclusion from the digital world has shaved $1 trillion from the gross domestic product of low and middle income countries in the last decade, a loss that will grow to $1.5 trillion by 2025 if we do not act now. Reversing this trend demands that we collectively address the very low level of enrollment and completion of girls in STEM subjects and courses. For example, in Kenya, female participation in the STEM disciplines in public university is less than 30%, of which that it is a few years to come. Only a third of the women entering lucrative STEM job markets will be women. Furthermore, in Kenya, a 2021 study found that only 35% of women use advanced digital services compared to 54% of men. Further action is required to tackle the problem of online violence, which 38% of women in 31 countries said they had personally experienced. Online violence includes online bullying, cyber stalking, defamation and hate speech, public shaming, and hacking, among others. A study conducted in Kenya found that more than 20% of women reported having experienced online harassment. Unfortunately, redress mechanisms are insufficient. Lastly, on the challenges and digital gender gap, we are called to acknowledge and spotlight the huge disparity between urban and rural populations in Kenya in terms of access to technology and digital services. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya National Digital Master Plan 2022 to 2032 is an excellent entry point, an opportunity to accelerate action on closing these gender gaps. Concrete actions include: 1. Government to take deliberate and intentional steps to identify and address barriers faced by women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics STEM programs, and support them to define and design technology that will better support them and their communities. 2. Social media service providers to set high-level and clear commitments to upholding women's safety in online spaces and provide accessible and transparent reporting and complaint procedures. 3. Government to strengthen capacity of and protocol for law enforcement officials addressing online violence against women. 4. Civil society to strengthen awareness and capacity of women advocates, educators, and internet users to identify, report online and ICT facilitated violence and how to access essential services online. Finally, government to continue expanding spaces for women to lead and contribute to development solutions. This includes concrete action by Parliament to enact the two-thirds gender principle into law. As I conclude, let me, on behalf of the UN family in Kenya, wish all the women here present in Kenya and around the world, as well as the partners, families, and communities that support and hold them high, a very happy International Women's Day.